you're listening.
There we go. Thanks, Barbara. Welcome, everyone. We're very happy to have you here. We're recording this session. I'm Darcy Frank from Arts Council of Placer County. We're happy to have our chief, Barbara Burge, here with us, who is under the weather, but still tuning in and listening and fielding any questions as needed. But we are in the very capable hands of Catherine High, who leads the grants, workshops, and applications and all the back end information that you just never get enough credit for, Catherine. So thank you to those of you who have joined us today. I'll let Catherine take it away.
Has everybody read through the application and the criteria, what we will and will not fund? Because this workshop is basically your questions. So I hope you've read through it all.
I think I did.
Darcy, do you want to pull it up? Can you pull it up?
Oh, sure. Give me a minute. You could go ahead and field any questions while I get that pulled up if you'd like.
April? April, you've cut out.
About what is considered public art and what is, or the distinction between public art and capital assets, and how those two might overlap.
April, you're really cutting out. I didn't
or placement get... or
could you repeat your question? You're cutting out.
Oh shoot.
I can hear your Catherine, or sorry, April, give it one more try and I'll type it in the chat if she can't hear it.
Okay, and it could be me. So I want to be clear about the distinction, if there is one, between public art and a capital asset, because I know capital assets aren't funded, but sometimes it seemed like when I looked up capital asset that it could, a public art could also kind of overlap. So I
wouldn't think so. I think public art is different. Capital assets, say for an organization, would be for their own organization. Like, you know, you're rebuilding the bathroom or the stage, or, you know, things like that.
But I mean, what if you wanted to put something decorative in front of a facility?
If it's like a mural, that would
but it does improve.
A mural, okay. But you know, if you wanted to paint your building, that wouldn't really apply because it's not artistic.
Right. But if it has an artistic quality, then it's...
Well, if is it a mural? What are you planning on thinking of doing?
Well, what we...
Oh, sorry, April, it did freeze again.
You're freezing, you're freezing. April, why don't you type your question in the chat?
And maybe I could clarify, April. If you're talking about sculpture outside of a building that's going to be there forever, that is not capital improvement. That is an artistic piece that's going to be an asset to the community. A mural is an asset to the community. It's on your building, but we don't consider that capital improvement. We're more like if the window, you know, you need to replace old windows, air conditioning, if you've got insulation problems, anything like that. And we also don't buy furniture, that kind of, you know, files, that kind of thing. Anything that's going to stay with the building, and it's a capital improvement for the building. Did she hear that?
Does that answer your question, April? Did you hear that?
I'm going to come back on and I will hopefully access the recording to get the beginning, but I have to change locations.
Okay.
No problem. And feel free to reach out to Catherine by phone or by email after the meeting too, if we don't get your question answered right here. No problem at all. Right, Catherine?
That sounded good. It sounded like if there's artistic quality, then that, and it's not just purely like
April, if it's improving the building on the outside, but it's a creative endeavor, that's fine. That's a cultural asset to the community. Whereas if you're repainting your building, not murals, but repainting your building or purchasing something for the inside, that's a permanent, asset. I understand certain assets do have a lifetime and you roll them out, but that's not what we're looking to fund.
Okay, April's gonna change locations. Hopefully we'll have a better signal. Rebecca, do you have a question?
I do. Yes, thank you. So I'm curious with the new criteria and process, where you think Metal Arts Academy would fall under if it's different, this time around. We are a school and we are just looking to continue our relationship with the Arts Council and maybe get more funding to continue the scholarship program that we have in place.
Right. Barbara?
Okay, that's a no-brainer. We will continue to fund the scholarships. You are a school, but you're not a public entity, which is basically what that is looking at, either that or a private school, that type of thing during the day, but mostly public school. So you won't have any problem getting a grant for
But which
your
it's not
tuition.
real, Barbara, it's not really clear on the category.
What category? I'm sorry.
It would be either after school arts education in schools or arts organization. I would say let's put them in art organization.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
And then next time around, we'll have a better clarification of that.
Okay, thank you very much. And that was my question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And Catherine, we've had a few others join us. Welcome, everyone. Yes. Again, we are recording this session, but please feel free to fire off your questions for Catherine.
Kevin, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I have actually a couple of questions. So I have not yet put in the grant application. I have it sitting here typed in front of me and ready to go, but I have a few questions about it. So our project, it's a performance, music and animated film mixed media project. And the animators are all here at Placerville. I mean in Placer County, Rockland, actually. But the piece is being performed in Dublin, Ireland. And we want to bring them here. We want, they're intending to do a US tour. They're a world-class group. And we wanted to bring them to Placer County. We want to bring them, we're looking at Auburn at this point as the venues we're looking for. And that's what we're trying to get this to do, because they will accommodate us. They're coming to the United States. They are doing a fall and winter tour. And if we want to help them, they'll come to us. And because we've got our piece in it, we really want to see that happen. But that's the question is, since they're from kind of all over the country and outside of Placerville, the 4 musicians that we would like to have perform it, so we have 3 animators and a musician, and the composer we're local, but the actual people that we would like to have perform the piece are, they're at a different level. And so how much should we put their participation, or should we plan to do it with trying to find local musicians to play the piece and not have the benefit of, it's really, because we would get a lot more draw and a lot more interest if we have the more famous people and the opportunity. They're not likely to come to us again. Well, we'll see. But, so looking for that, how would I, is that going to be, knowing that the musician portion would be from out of the county, is that going to kill us?
I think that you would slant your grant more towards your local performers.
Yeah.
And we could cover the local activity possibly. But this is a grant for Placer County.
Right, and that's where the performance is, that's where all the work has been done.
Done.
But we're trying to bring in other people to play the music, because
Right.
that's part of it, but the film, because this is an interactive performance piece, and so you know, all of the creation has all been done here and is still ongoing,
Right.
and where it would be performed is here. We just want to bring in the performance that are the best possible to do it.
Kevin, this is Barbara. I'm going to answer that slightly different. We would prefer that they were local, but if you could tell us that's going to make a difference in the attendance of bringing people from outside of Placer County into Placer County for our economic development, that's a good slant.
That's how I wrote the application, but before I pushed the button, I wanted to make sure I was shooting myself in the foot.
But you need to tell us what percentage of the performance being, the people who built the performance. Bear with me. I have COVID and I'm answering. It's all right. It's been 2 weeks. So the outside, we've done that before with film. I mean, we've had people who they filmed here in Placer County. Some of the actors were out of Placer County. I would say that we would consider it, but I think you need to give us a percentage of actual Placer County. If you think it's 50-50,
Well, no,
whatever.
And
of the actual bodies involved.
Yes.
The 4 performers that we're trying to bring in, 75% is living here in Rockland.
I think that's great. And Kevin, I suggest you make the pitch to the grant committee how it makes it more authentic to have your performers from Ireland. If that's a key component, just tell that story like you have to us.
Yeah, to me, I think that's because that's the one that will get us the attendance that we're after. And
But
okay.
we would cover the expenses that are accrued here in Placer with Placer.
Right, that's the only thing that they're coming already to the States. They're going to be touring. They'll be performing in Davis. They'll be performing around. We want to get them to also do one in Placerville. We'll help you because we want to get this is our home. We want them to perform here, and
So
get us on the tour.
Kevin, I can add, there's also economic impact data to show that if people come to Placer County to see this performance, they spend more money. So our residents spend money going to the performance, but check out the economic impact data on how even someone from Citrus Heights or Davis might come, they're going to spend even more dollars to see your performance. So check out the AEP6 page on our website. For some of that data. I can show you that.
AEP6.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that for you.
Okay.
Under our events, there's arts and economic prosperity data. So you might check that out.
I will do that. Thank you.
Can everyone see my screen right now?
Yeah.
So there's the arts and economic prosperity. And then the Placer County report is the one with the pink frame right there.
Okay. Got it.
I'll go back to our grants page.
Thank you. And I think that's our big question. I think so. All right. Thank you very much.
Tell a good story.
I'm going to try.
Thanks, Kevin. Looking forward to reading the application.
Thank you.
Nicole, do you have any questions? Oh, there she is.
Oops.
No, sorry, I logged in late. We had an internet blip here. No, I'm just logging in to get more information about the grant and see if I can apply with my project.
Okay, have you read through the grant application?
I have.
Okay, was anything jump out at you? Do you have any questions?
Not necessarily, no, it all seemed pretty straightforward.
Okay. Because we were planning this workshop more rather than read it out loud to you, which you can do on your own, just to assume you've read through it and you have questions.
Gotcha. I logged on thinking maybe you were going to provide further information that wasn't necessarily on the application. I guess, my only question would be is, and maybe you've already answered this and I missed it. I apologize if so. How, if I intend on building an interactive art project that would last longer than December 31st, does that immediately toss me out, or can I somehow, I can show that I have other funds in order to continue the project past December 31st, and that's okay? That's acceptable?
I would think so. We'd have to see the whole grant.
Okay.
Is it a standalone project, Nicole?
It is, yeah. It's an interactive art project that the community members and intergenerationally can participate in, but I would like the project to continue past December 31st. But I would love to be able to use the grants to build the project. That's what we're really seeking funds for. And then myself as an artist and my team will continue. Once the project is built, it won't take a lot of money in the future. It shouldn't take any money other than just regular maintenance by myself and my team. But we'd like to get the project built with the funds.
How long do you foresee it lasting?
Well, I'd like it to last a year, and then at that point, see if we can't continue it in a different format.
Mhm. Are you aware of the funding is 50% up front if it's approved, and then 50% at the completion?
Yes.
So you would have to give us all the data after, by December. Even
Okay.
though it's ongoing, you would have to give us that information.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree with Catherine. Nicole, I don't see any problem with that. Pictures, data, invoices if you have them. And if the project is up, you can, there's a lot of data that you can give us, like an opening, that kind of thing. And just say it's an ongoing public art project, and they'll be able to understand that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
April, do you have any questions? How is your connection now? You're on mute.
Dead up here. It's fine now. I thought I had solved the problem at my office, but obviously I didn't. So I'm back at home. No, that was a great answer. I understand.
Did you have any specific questions about the application or the requirements?
No, I think I understood that. It was just that one, if there was a dividing line about what was functional and what was artistic and how that might be viewed.
Yeah.
A capital expenditure as opposed to an art installation.
Right. Yeah, a capital asset. I mean, because it would be, to me, it would be an asset to the building and it would be there permanently, probably, but it's not.
But it's an
not
art
functional.
installation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to be clear before.
Yeah,
Right.
I think you're clear, April.
Yep.
Thanks.
Kathy Strand, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I just logged in. I had trouble getting on. So this, I don't know if this already got asked. The breakdown of expenses, are estimates sufficient? Or do I need actual quotes for services?
Initially, it will be estimates, but then
Okay.
with the completion, you'll have
Yeah,
final numbers.
invoices.
And
Okay,
if you've already, like if you have rented a venue and you had to pay already ahead of time, you could list that.
yeah. Okay, let me keep looking.
I know one of the things that the grant committee is going to be looking for this time around, based on our previous experiences, is how likely is the project gonna be that it's actually gonna happen? You know, if you can put some assurance in there somehow, it could be verbal, it could be some sort of documentation that you have a commitment for a venue, et cetera, then that's more likely to give it a weight, because in the past, we've had some grants that have been granted that they were unable for various reasons to continue with the project. And we're trying to clarify that so that these are, you know, pretty well thought out and realistic projects.
And if for some reason it doesn't go forward and we've paid you the first half, sometimes there are occasions where we ask for that money back.
Sorry, I had a quick
Rebecca.
question. Yeah, thank you. So I'm looking at the application and it asks for the information for a fiscal sponsor. What does that mean?
Fiscal sponsor is an organization that is a nonprofit, and they file for fiscal responsibility documentation. There's quite a few places in Placer County that do that type of thing. So if you're a nonprofit and it needs to fall under a nonprofit category, and you're not a certified nonprofit, but you're in the process of maybe doing that or not ready to do that, then you would get a fiscal sponsor.
Okay, thank you.
And basically, by the way, the money does go to them and they give it to you. So that's why they have a number in their governmental, you know, certifications. So.
The question about percentage of Placer County residents. So I'm assuming that is that a percent of about 400,000 residents?
Well, it would be who are the residents you estimate would be participating or enjoying or seeing your project? Our funding comes from the Economic Development Department of Placer County. So
That's
of course,
the entire-
their emphasis is on economic development.
Mhm.
So we're trying to track that as much as people can.
Yeah.
This is funds to be used for and within and for the benefit of Placer County.
Mhm.
Can I go again?
Yes, April.
Okay. And this is just brainstorming, but one thought that we had is we would like to have a very expensive piece of art, public art. And we know that that would not come within the purview of this grant, and we'd have to raise money. But what if there was a call to artists that would? So can you like requesting ideas for public art for a certain space, and they had to produce like a model, a maquette, and then they would be compensated for that. But then the next step would be, of course, would be to raise much more money but there would be then something to kind of market to potential donors to contribute for a larger piece of artwork. Would that be something that would fall within your standards? You know, the initial call to artists and compensation to a selected artist for completing for making the proposal and completing the model.
So basically you do a call to artists, you'd have several different people submit drawings or whatever, sketches. And then you would select one that you think would work, and you make an agreement with them that you want to go forward, price, etc. And then you want them to do a mock-up so you can use that as marketing, etc., and you need help, or they would need help to pay for that display piece or marketing piece. I know what you're saying it is.
Yeah, they would produce the marketing piece, but then
Right.
it would get that far into the reality of the project, but then we'd have to be fundraising from other sources to actually
Yeah.
get the large.
What would that fall under, Catherine? I think it would, but I'm not sure where we would put it.
It would be the artist, if it's a Placer County artist, they could apply directly to us for their expenses. So you're re-granting in a way. So I'm not sure
What
about
kind of
that.
purchasing?
Yeah.
Or
It falls into there. First of all, remember, we do the call to artist when you produce it. We do that for you. That doesn't cost you anything. So make sure that you utilize our department for that. We
Right.
get it out to all the artists, and Darcy does a heck of a job
Yeah.
marketing it. And secondly, I think Catherine's probably, unless you have a contract with the artist, then that might be a different story. If you've already agreed on what the piece looks like and you want them to produce this mock-up for you, then you're right. It does fall under both. You could apply for a grant for just that cost of that mock-up. And, and then add on the fact that it's going to be a permanent art piece, because this is a process that everybody's familiar with.
right. So yeah, it's just kind of the initial step to then but to get the grant to go to that first step and then go beyond that. Okay, so that might fly.
April, I think that process supports economic development because you're paying artists for their work, for their mock-up. So I think that's a key part of your story.
Is it
Okay.
just for Placer? Is just Placer County artists?
We have, yeah, I mean, that's who we would focus on. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I agree with Darcy. Thank you, Darcy. She always brings in, that's why you have three of us with different perspective. We look at it different ways on how it's best going to help the community with the funding.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else have questions? If nobody
Catherine,
else-
is there anything on the application you wanted to show by screen share? Any other highlights? Just let me know.
Only if there were questions. I mean, if you understand, we tried to make it as self-explanatory as possible. And with the thrust always on economic development. And then there is the part two. You've got to look at the part two. Remember, there is a part two to get the second half of your funding if you're approved.
I think Rebecca had another question.
I
Great.
do. Thank you. So we run our program twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. So would it be okay for me to request more funding this year because it would cover both spring and fall programs? Or do I just need to keep it the same as last year? And then, apply again for the fall?
How long does the program last?
It's 12 weeks and it's spread out throughout the year now. Instead of back to back, we're doing 3-week sessions. And I think it's allowing people to take that time off. Instead of getting time off work for 12 weeks, they now only have to be 3-week sessions. Then they can go back to work and then come back for the second part. So it's really spread out from March 4th to December 13th. And so there's 8 sessions total.
Well, that would be the one scholarship from March to December.
Well, it's two complete sessions. So
two sessions.
Yeah, because each one is 4 sessions.
But it all finishes by the end of the year.
Well, Catherine, the next session that we have opening, which will be, oh God, give me back my brain today. Anyway, in the fall, 6 months. They're 2 6-month cycles, right? So this year will end and so the next one will be actually a spring cycle. because this year we're only doing the one. Next year, we're hoping, that's the plan with the county, that we will be doing 2 6-month sessions. So
Not guaranteed at this point. but we're
not
hoping.
guaranteed at this point. We're still working on the contract with them.
Oh.
So for right now, I would just go for this year for the amount that you need for this whole year.
Okay, great. That answers the question. Thank you.
What did you think of the grant application altogether? Was it daunting? Was it, what were your opinions? We worked long and hard on it, but we're on one side and you guys are on the other. I'm just interested in your feedback.
Great question, Catherine.
I thought it was great. I thought it was very thorough.
Oh, good. It was quite a departure from what we've had in the last year, so.
I agree. It felt really easy. I just read through it, and because I've applied several times, I was familiar with it before, and this seems a little bit much more straightforward. Maybe also because I've done it before. It's now in my brain, but it was good.
Oh,
work.
good. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, it's hard to anticipate all that, the questions.
Yeah,
You've
it
done a
is.
good job.
And we will change the categories to give you a category for art schools rather than after school, children's school.
Right, that's true. And it's difficult for us to use Yelp or Google. They don't give us a category. We don't fit into a category. So
God.
yeah. So it's been tricky.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see my hand meeting. While you're thinking of other questions, I was going to ask, have all of you also added your organizations to our new arts directory?
I have.
Yay.
I individually, personally, I have.
Great.
But art organizations, art supply stores, stores that sell dancing shoes and dance equipment, theatrical supplies, they all can be in our directory for the ACPC. And it's free.
Yes, and it is free.
And
If
the
you
more
want-
the more people who are participate in it, the richer it becomes for everybody.
Mhm. Okay.
If we have no other questions, we can wind up.
Great. Well,
Good job.
I will put in one additional plug while we're talking about the directory. Want to make sure all of you have received your invite or already have on your calendar our Muffins and Momentum event on March 14th. We're inviting all of you and all of our arts and culture nonprofit organizations to come. Randy Cohen from Americans for the Arts is traveling here from Washington, D.C. to present the economic impact data from the American Economic Prosperity 6 study that we did in 2022. And he'll share with you why that information is important and how you can use it to build momentum for your organization. So it's a fantastic opportunity. It is free. We just ask that you RSVP. If anyone has not received the link to that invitation, you can reach out to me. I'll stop my screen share and put my email in the chats. Be sure to follow up with you.
And reach out, please, to all your creatives and organizations you know of and are involved in, and give them a heads up if they haven't already, because this is really for the artists and the art organizations, and we really want to see a lot of faces so we can really work together to improve what's going on here in Placer County.
Great. And do we have any other general announcements for the good of the group from any staff or any of you that are in attendance?
I'm glad you all came today. And good luck with your grant application.
I guess one thing I would like to mention, the roundabout that's going in Auburn at the intersection, going down into the canyon on where Lincoln Way goes up to Rayleigh's and then 49 drops down into the canyon. Anyway, there's a roundabout going in there, and the Auburn Arts Commission is finishing a draft RFP that we are getting to staff, and hopefully the council will support. And so there can be public art in that roundabout,
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
which is going to be a big fundraising project.
Yeah, well, please send any information our way. We'll be happy to share it out as you get it. So,
Oh, yes.
and thank you all for creating and working on these projects and applying for these grants. We appreciate you helping the arts thrive in Placer County.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I hope we did Patrick, our guru, proud. Thank you again for all being here. And again, if you think of questions after the fact, Catherine is happy to hear from you. Does everyone have Catherine's email? It's Catherine.
Catherine at placerarts.org.
And I
And
put in the chat as well.
And if any of you run into a supervisor, tell them thank you for supporting the Arts Council of Placer County. And if you're happy with what we do, please let people know. We appreciate it. We're working hard. We have a lot of volunteers like you are, and we're working hard.
Thanks again, everyone. We appreciate being here. Well done, Catherine. Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Catherine.
everybody.
The recording. And again, be sure to add your events on social media. That's the part I'm supposed to do for Patrick. At the ACPC on Facebook and Instagram, and visit us on our website at placerarts.org. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Tarsi.